Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This woman right here has something to tell us about passport bros and people going to other countries for love. So I'm really looking forward to getting that answer.
So I put out a note about my trip to Thailand in 2013. I was going to Thailand for the first time because a crazy rich friend of mine was getting married.
Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah, I've seen that movie.
Now, she is of Indian descent and she lives in Philippines, and she was getting married in Thailand at a luxury resort in Phuket. So we all go there for this wedding. And I decided, because it's going to Thailand, that I wanted to spend at least, I believe it was like 2 weeks, just because the flight there, because I chose a really cheap flight out there, it was already going to be a very long flight. So I wanted to really enjoy my time in Thailand, check out Bangkok, go to Chiang Mai, go to Chiang Rai, go check out Phuket, right? So there are different islands, and I wanted to do different islands and also go to the city, spend a few days there. So I went to Thailand for the first time.
As one does.
Now, I had heard about this notorious sex tourism in Thailand. And honestly speaking, in Phuket, you don't really see it a lot because Phuket is a luxury resort. Kind of like if you go to Cancun, you go to these luxury resorts. They're relatively insulated. They're specifically designed for foreigners because it's mostly international businesses that are there that are making money. And obviously they got married at a beautiful place, the Sheraton in Phuket, which is a luxury resort. So we go to Thailand.
Yeah, because they're rich. And she's just letting you know that her friends are really rich. She knows people, guys. She knows people. She ain't just some average hoe up in these streets, okay? She got connections.
And it was eye-opening because after the wedding was over, I started going to different parts of Thailand. And that's when I saw the rampant sex tourism there. Now, I don't know how things have been since 2013, but in 2013, it was pretty rampant.
I've heard this about Thailand, but I don't know. I think Thailand has that reputation that, like, there's a lot of escorts and prostitutes or prostitution. So doesn't surprise me that there would be a lot of this. Like, I'm not surprised. I don't know. Like, is this surprising?
And because I'm Asian, I would constantly encounter old white men or young white men literally look at me like I am a piece of meat. They would just come up to me and my friend. My friend was a tall, skinny, darker Asian, and she was very tan, and they thought that she was Thai, and they also thought I was Asian, right? They don't discriminate. They come up to both of us, and she was getting the brunt of it because she's tall. She actually looks more Thai. Her hair is very, very straight. My hair, as you can see, is ambiguously curly.
I can't tell. The videos are really dark. I don't know. Just look kind of like all blurry, frankly.
So, you know, every time they would see her, and she doesn't speak English the way I do, so they would always go up to her and be like, how much, how much, how much? Oh, you're so beautiful, how much? Come with me, and grab her.
Oh, you're so beautiful, come with me. What is this accent she's doing? Is she doing the accent of an Asian? Of like a stereotypical Asian man? Because that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like a white guy. Actually, I guess it would just sound like me, my normal voice. How much, babe? How much for your services? Yeah, honey, you want to come back to my hotel room, babe?
Physically grab her, physically leer at her. And I would constantly see this disparity and this like disturbing situation as it relates to age, right? These old white men, they're mostly white. And these old white men would just be leering like lechers, like really disgusting, like over these poor girls. And I mean poor girls, both literally and figuratively, because you don't go into the sex trade if you are doing really well financially.
This sounds a lot like those gym girl videos where people, like those women, go work out in the gym and they're like, yeah, I was just doing these squats in my tight ass pants that like show my ass crack and my boobs are like pushed out, and I'm just like bending over my ass and just doing my squats, and then somebody looked like, oh my god, and then he came over and asked that I need help with my weights, and I was just like, you pervert, you were leering at me, you're dirty lechers, leering. Like, if you can't handle somebody like looking at you, like I wasn't there in her situation, but if you can't handle guys just looking at you, then you're probably not set up in society. Now, I can understand if they come over and they're saying like, how much, come with me, and they're being forceful about it. That's one thing, which is probably inappropriate. You probably are dressed in a certain way. I don't know. And now I feel like I'm victim blaming. Okay, I am victim blaming. I'm bad now. I am bad now. I don't know. I wasn't there. You know what? I wasn't there. So I shouldn't comment.
And unfortunately, it left a very bad taste in my mouth, and I was very, very torn when I left Thailand. On the one hand, I thought Thailand was extremely incredible. Natural beauty, Koh Phi Phi Islands were perfect. Everything was so great, but the tourists kind of ruined everything. Like, they ruined everything. It's like we can't have nice things because of the disgusting and blatant abuses that I literally witnessed, not even being, in that situation, but just like the way people treated us.
Kind of agree with her point in a broader sense. A lot of tourist places that I've been in, they're like beautiful places and they're so nice and pretty, and then they're just so busy and so many tourists, and it's like so clearly set up for like services, like tourist services and shit, that like it doesn't feel special. It feels just like just ramming you through, like go 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 go. Like it, I don't know, like it does kind of ruin the pristine of the natural beauty or whatever you're looking at, right? Whatever you're there to view and do. So in some regard, I get it, but the way her attitude is when she discusses it, it's clear she has some kind of like deep-seated hate for men or men going over there or whatever, or just men in general. Like, it just seems like there's some deep-seated issue that she has already, and she's projecting that into this. Because I can understand the one thing is they're like in there, these men, and they're coming up to you and saying, blah, 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 like, how much? And that would be annoying. It seems like a lot more is coming out of her.
And just seeing the way that they felt completely entitled to our bodies, groping and grabbing and like, it's just like utterly disgusting.
Who is she describing? I don't understand. Who is she? Like, this description, it just seems like she's describing, like, I don't know. Maybe this is my racial bias coming out here, but it seems like an old Asian man just being like, how much? Too much for a purse. Like trying to like whittle down your price. Like, what? Who is she talking about? It's just weird. I don't know. Who is groping and grabbing? I guess, you know what? Maybe it's different over there. Maybe people go over there and they're like, wow, shit, there's no laws here. We can grope and grab and do whatever. I just feel like, I don't know. It's like so hard. Like, do people just go to Thailand? They're like, well, there's a lot of sex work here, so I can just grab everybody. All of a sudden, your etiquette and everything goes out the window. Like, it just seems so exaggerated what she's talking about that I just have a hard time believing her.
And not to mention all the high levels of pedophilism that we know happens in these countries, not just Thailand, obviously, and certainly in the whole world, right?
What, now we're talking about pedophiles? What? So we just went from like legal adults getting groped and grabbed or being asked how much and being bothered or whatever to pedophiles. So what are you saying now, that like these white men are all pedophiles? Like, what just happened? Like, what is this switch?
These are issues in the whole world. In developed nations, in developing nations, same thing, right? These are global scourges of gross, terrible, disgusting men. And if men don't see why this is a problem and how this is kind of disgusting and gross, if they are proudly touting the fact that they're gonna go to Thailand for sex tourism and they're gonna just hang out with women there and then come back and then go back and forth and not even want to bring women here, just have fun there and take advantage of this exploitative situation, then they are 100% the problem.
Okay. I think most men would agree with you. Like, most guys would be like, yeah, like if you're just going there for sex tourism, it's not like it's a little bit that it's like a weird gray area. Like it's not great, but we kind of like they are being paid for services. They are doing a job. So on like on one hand, you're like, well, that's they chose to do that. So it's like they're consenting. So why can't they make the decision? And you can say like morally, it's like not good. Like, and then I guess the argument will be, well, they don't have a choice because they're so poor and destitute or whatever. Like they have to do that. I'm like, really? Because if that's the counter argument here, then why isn't every single woman in Thailand or whatever these countries we're referring to now, all doing that? Like, how do other people survive? So like only prostitutes and escorts survive, or like what? Clearly there's other options. They just choose to go down that path.
And any man or woman, any human that can't see why this might be disturbing, that is just totally, totally, totally on them. And you know, I'm singling out Thailand, but recently I was in Colombia for another client's wedding. Now I know a lot of people that have international weddings, and so
because she got connections, yo. She got connections. So she gets to go to all these places, and she's always traveling on the budget, cheap-ass flight. And you know she's going to have a long layover and shit, so she got to get her money worth. So she got to go there for multiple weeks because, you know, she was in the plane so long. You know, it's the story, guys. Okay, we know the story.
And so this particular client had a wedding in Cali, California. Colombia. And the same thing at night, about 9 or 10 p.m. right now, because of the refugee crisis of people moving to Colombia in droves, it's led to a serious sex tourism issue. So much so that when you go to the Airbnbs, they literally have signs like at the door saying no prostitutes allowed. You're not allowed to bring any sex workers into this vicinity. The people manning the booths, the front desk, everyone is like carefully ticking off information, right? Like they definitely don't want foreigners coming here exploiting sex workers. Literally.
What? I don't think they're doing it for that reason. That's weird. Like I'm not following the logic here. Why would the person with an Airbnb, it sounds like in a gated community or something, or in a gated apartment building with security or whatever, condos, why would they stop foreigners from partaking in sex tourism? I would think maybe from their property perspective, maybe they had some issue where, like, you know, people come in for sex tourism and they steal stuff or they damage stuff, you know, like the escort or prostitute or whatever you want to call them. They might do something, and maybe that's what they're thinking. But, like, why would they be like, we don't want you coming to Colombia for this, so we don't want you bringing it into the Airbnb? It's like, really? I don't know. You guys comment down below if you can think of something, but I think she's like pulling shit out of the air right now.
Really, like Airbnbs are that strict. They're like, don't even come here. But of course, there are abusive people that I'm sure bribe the front desk people or whatever. Because at the end of the day, exploitation is exploitation. A lot of people participate. And it's almost like even though the country itself is in a way complicit. And unfortunately, this is the problem.
Okay, so again, the narrative is that these people are being exploited because they have no other choice. And I guess the insinuation is that because they're refugees into the Colombian country, so they don't have any other option. Okay, I mean, again, all personal choices, like how you got to these places. But I mean, if you just want to remove any personal responsibility from these people and just like they're unwilling actors in their own life, they can't control shit, like they have no power. I mean, then I guess you got to be Mama Bear here and say all this stuff because they literally can't control anything in their own lives. They are completely powerless in their own lives. They have zero power. All the power is in the other people's hands. That's it. They have no. They didn't choose to be born and be put in these situations, guys. Okay? They have zero power. And don't you dare come here and start telling me that they make decisions and they have choices in their life, you know, to do certain things. No, they were forced out of whatever country they were in. I don't know, maybe they were in Honduras and then they went to Colombia. I don't know what happened. Or Venezuela and they went to Colombia. They went there And now they have to do sex tourism because that's all they can do. They got to eat, and there's no other way for them to survive, so they have to do that. Or they have to like work in a drug cartel because that's the only option they have. There is no other way. You know, nobody else survives doing anything else. I mean, you didn't know that all these refugees, they're literally all sex tourists and drug dealers.
When countries have no central power, right? Because in China, this used to happen. A generation ago in China, you know, sex trafficking of women and children probably happened a lot frequently, a lot more than it is today. But since then, what has happened with China? Why are so many men not going to China anymore to look for wives? And why is the passport bro situation not impacting China?
Hold on, what? 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 The China situation would be different for, I don't know, a couple of reasons. I don't know, but she's talking about sex trafficking. Like, okay, another word she's just throwing in there. But just think, I don't even know about sex trafficking, okay? Let's just think of the China thing. Didn't China institute a policy of one child? And weren't they specifically doing the whole thing where they wanted to have boys of children, and they have like a deficit of women in their country? Wasn't that a big thing? So why would people be going there for women when there's a shortage of fucking women? Are you what? God.
Really at all, if any, it's because Chinese people are rich now. Like, Chinese people are rich now in China. The Chinese are well off. You know, they're well off. So like, you're not going to find that. And the central government is extremely powerful. The central government has stood up and said, we're not going to tolerate this. But unfortunately, in other countries, there just isn't the infrastructure, and it's not blaming anyone. It just is what it is right now. Certain governments are just weaker than others, for better or for worse. So my experience, even being in Colombia recently, it just breaks my heart that so many people are taking advantage of this economic situation, of the refugee crisis, and they're going there in droves. And someone even posted about how there was a terrible case that happened in Colombia of a passport bro committing crimes. I believe it was somebody unalive someone. Again, I didn't actually understand what.
I love how they all say unalive, I guess because you can't say the other words. Because like you get banned or something, so it's all unalive someone, unalive someone. It sounds like you're turning them to a zombie. I heard about this. Some guy unalived a girl. Yeah,
happened, but I'm certainly sure I can look it up. But even just having been there recently, it is terrifying what women have to go through just to make a living, just to survive. And the passport bros going there aren't going there with this knight in shining armor attitude. They're very much going there to exploit a very bad situation.
Well, that would be your opinion. Opinions in this video have been very skewed already. It's very obvious that you don't like this for whatever reason. I don't know what your personal motivations are. So, I mean, I take everything you pretty much have said with a grain of salt. You mix so many things in there. First of all, passport bros are supposed to be black people, specifically black men. And then somehow you stuck them with old white men and then pedophiles and sex trafficking. So like, it's just like you mixed so many things together, and then you're just like, this is what they're doing. It's like, what? It's just, I don't know if you have not made a coherent argument at all. It's just a bunch of garbage coming out of your mouth for the most part. There was a few things in there, but most of it was just like a bunch of random garbage, just spilling out just random things that you're repeating. All right, guys, I don't know. Maybe you enjoyed this. Maybe you didn't enjoy this. This woman is ridiculous, so I don't know what else to tell you. Please like, hit subscribe, and I will see you again next time.